good morning. I can sing, man. Good morning, guys. I'm so happy to be finding Lolo. Don't say anything. I'm so happy to finally be able to say happy third mainland reopening day.
Reopening day for those that live on the island.
No. But Lolo, how do you feel?
My sister,
how do you feel?
I feel joy, because I'm going to need it from next week. Because I'm not going to be able to come early. I'm going to be coming after the show. So I need this road to open. To be open, so I can get to office in 45 minutes.
Lagosians have tried. Lagosians have tried. And we understand the need to resurface, to redo whatever and everything. But let me tell you, the traffic has been from another dimension.
Listen, how long, I've even forgotten how long the third mainland bridge was closed.
Exactly.
We suffered it. You know, we were like, good Nigerians supporting you.
We're gladiators.
Just the way we are in this country. We are such troopers. As in any small thing, even no matter how inconvenient, we just adjust.
But you know what? See, you guys need to applaud me. See, I've gone through, Eko Bridge. Eko Bridge was under construction, under rehabilitation for almost 2 years, off and on, right?
Yes.
Then I thought I escaped that when we moved to the mainland. Then I entered third mainland. So I've been experiencing traffic in my daily commute for almost 3 years.
I'm so sorry.
Lagos should mention anything again.
I'm so sorry,
how about we that live in the Ajah axis?
But you will enjoy it now. You suffer today to enjoy tomorrow. Because by the time the bridges...
I don't even understand the glee. And
she's happy for people like you.
She's
I'm
so
happy for all of us.
And I can feel your snicker.
Seriously. Anyways, guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Jasiri. I am fired up and ready for some insightful conversations today. We've got a lot in store for you. But before we go further, please, if you know any reliable company that sells inverters, guys, I'm interested. Because the power situation in this country, they carry me go where I don't know. I don't know where it's carrying people to.
So you know how much inverter battery is now?
But let's just make a plan.
You want to ask me?
No.
I want to buy two. I'm looking at over 500,000 naira.
Of course.
Yeah. Catherine's face changed.
There was a time where, but they say, listen, guys, do not procrastinate.
Yes. Make hay while the sun is shining.
Yes, because things change so very quickly.
Because I have made a mental note over and over and over the months, over the years. Oh, yeah, I'll get the
and it's worth it. It is really worth it.
I need to do what Tolu is doing myself, because I had an inverter in the first maybe 3 years and it was very functional. But when it just becomes bad,
within 20 minutes, just being
oh my God.
That's the sound it makes when it's running out, when it's about to go off. But a lot of people are investing in solar now. But it's the initial investment that's the issue. But when we come back at this situation, because power is still a very major problem in this country, and the federal government has now reportedly approved an almost 300% increase in electricity tariff for customers in the topmost band of electricity consumption. Guys, calm down. This is not for everybody just yet.
I'm waiting for
So it means that from the existing 66 naira per kilowatt hour that customers in the top A band, that's band A, were paying, they're moving now to 225 naira per kilowatt hour. So this is going to affect the top 15% of the 12 million electricity consumers in the country. And this is a decision that has sparked a lot of backlash and debates across the country.
Okay,
let's figure out
what band you're in. That is what I've been emphasizing to people. That is the important part of this conversation.
You're on the island band.
No, don't say that. I live in the mainland of Ireland. Ajah is not island band, Coco.
It's the mainland of the island.
It's the mainland of the island.
God. Okay, the island of the island.
So the bands are broken down into how many hours of electricity you have. So band A has like 1, 2, 3, 4, I think about 4 bands, 4 sub-bands in it. So band A is those who are getting 20 hours plus of electricity per day. Some people in this country are getting 20 hours.
20 hours?
Almost 24 hours.
Wow.
And we were talking about this with MG yesterday. Yes, between 20 and 22 hours. So if you buy an inverter and you have solar, what do you need diesel, gen or whatever for? So that's band A. Then band B is 16 hours and above. I think I fall into band B somewhere. Band C is 12 hours and more of electricity, but less than 16 hours. And that has 3 sub-bands. Band B, as I said, has 3 sub-bands, and Band A also has 4 sub-bands. There's Band D in red. 8 hours and above, but less than 12 hours of electricity per day. And then Band E is 4 hours and above, but less than 8 hours per day. So the bands allow us to understand. But we were talking to a whole bunch of people to try and understand what's going on. So one thing is, the NERC has announced this, but they have not sent an official communication to the discos. So there's a possibility, you know that thing I always say where government goes to the extreme, then they call you to the table? There's a possibility that that may be happening in this situation.
But why do they always do this?
Exactly. I want to say this way
forward thinking.
They don't want
Is it not do this before you do that?
the car before the horse.
Scare the people before you now come to a compromise. Our blood, some people will die from just this announcement. That 2022 died.
Wait,
And by the time they died, by evening they'll now say, okay, 165.
Let's also consider who these people are. They're saying the 15%, the top 15% of the 12 million electricity consumers in Nigeria. So when you look at that 15%, they're also the ones who are employers of labor.
Yeah.
They're also the ones who are helping to keep your economy, because when we talk about middle class, this is still relatively middle class, but the middle class in Nigeria is disappearing. Yes. How is this going to affect them that then becomes a knockdown effect for the things they feel
I know how it's going to affect us. The remaining manufacturing companies will leave. Yes, because
they're on a separate because industrial, they're slightly different.
They're different from
a little bit.
Personal consumption.
Okay,
people will just do what we do best, adjust. Put off things that you don't really need. Put on things like the air conditioning at night for certain hours. And when the room is cold, you turn on the fan. You just resume.
You won't be sleeping straight through the night anymore because you'll be going up and down to be turning off and on.
No, before you go to bed, you just turn off the AC and put on the fan.
Yes. So.
In this heat.
Yes, thank you, my sister.
Even the fan is carrying hot air.
I thought I was the only one doing that management stuff.
Master,
I put on my AC. I check the hour. When it's about 10 o'clock, me is working at, I will go for my van. And I'm not even using that iron fan. I hope it's plastic.
Yes, what? Are you kidding me?
But you know, on this side of the table, management table, they cannot do the same thing that they can.
You know,
Tolu,
let's respect our
whatever band anyone is.
Bandwidth.
No matter the band anyone is, it cannot be easy.
Because
that means you'll be doubling up on, you know, the amount of money you spend on electricity, and at the same time, I hope you are really getting the 20 hours they say.
So it's been researched
and come to a conclusion that they do.
No, I had a personal experience, but if I talk now, they say it's management on this side. Let me not talk.
No, management is on this side.
No. So we have a transformer in our compound.
Yes.
So that's why we're at the top of Band B. But in the recent situation we've all been facing, that 20 hours we're not getting. So how are you increasing, which has been a concern many people, how are you increasing the tariff for the electricity we're not even seeing?
That's what I'm saying.
How does it work?
That when they increase this tariff for whatever categories everybody is, and let's all know.
Please, what's Band frozen? What is that?
Okay, so because part of the other conversation people are looking at is government is looking at these top 15% to help to supplement the revenue that they're getting from lower end that they've had to freeze and that they're not able to get. Let's also remember, these discos are struggling to collect their money. Is Aso Rock? All these people in Abuja, do they not owe millions?
I don't know.
So this whole situation, it has not turned out the way we thought it would turn out. The way we thought it would turn out with the privatization of this parts of the value chain of electricity. And people are struggling. Many people have said they should remove the licenses of the discos. They're not doing what they should do. The discos are saying they're not turning profit. You have the transmission company of Nigeria. Sometimes discos are even rejecting electricity.
No, but what do you want?
There's so much issue in that sector.
What do you want them to do? You know, this country, honestly, if these things are novel things that has never been done anywhere in the world, I'll say, oh, it's come new to us and we need to grapple with, you know, being pioneers of something. But these things are not rocket science. We are still doing water generating electricity, Abi. Where countries have totally evolved to solar 100%.
Not fully 100%.
Not fully 100%, but now they are doing like, let's say, 60%.
I remember Germany 1 year hit
There was one place I saw
70%.
that they have solar on their road.
Everybody's taking advantage of what you can use.
We need
the
to do better.
Natural resource that we have.
And do you know how much sun we have?
Listen, a lot of it.
Wind, gas.
Why can't we just, and we're flaring gas.
You're flaring gas.
Well, we're supposed to harness some of these
Should I upset you with this gas flaring? The gas that we're flaring, the fines that the companies are meant to pay for the gas they're flaring, we're talking in kobo, because the law and the fines are so outdated. So you're not even making any. We need to go on a break. Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to go for a short break, but stay locked in, because when we return, we will unravel the intricacies of family planning in Nigeria and illuminate the path to a brighter future. Just don't wander off. Jasiri returns to Family Plan U.
Welcome back. This is Jasiri. We're streaming live on our social media platforms. We're at News Central TV. Please use the hashtag Jasiri to be part of the conversation we're having, so we know that you're watching. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to dive into riveting discussion on family planning in Nigeria, the boundless prospects it holds for the future. And joining us in this enlightening conversation we're about to have are two distinguished guests who bring unparalleled expertise and passion to the table. With us in the studio, first of all, is Jennifer Ladokun, Regional Program Manager at the Society for Family Health. And joining us via Zoom is Dr. Okai Haruna Aku, Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Federation of Nigeria. And together they will guide us through the intricate landscape of family planning in Nigeria and illuminate the path toward a brighter tomorrow. Jennifer, Dr. Aku, welcome to Jasiri.
Dr. Aku, let's start with you. You're joining us via Zoom. I know that when many Nigerians sometimes hear family planning, they just sort of tune out because there's just a lot that is involved in it. The conversation, it's very debatable sometimes, but many also see it as a tool that prevents nature from taking its rightful course. How do we navigate these cultural nuances when discussing family planning, particularly in the experience you've had in discussing it with your patients?
Thank you very much. Hope you're hearing me.
Very clearly.
Yeah, it's nice to be with you. I'm humble. And first of all, family planning is a very crucial issue globally, and not to talk of Nigeria. We all know Nigeria has a very large population, being the biggest in Africa, and something must be done. We know the more the merrier, but what we are looking for is quality. So when we're talking about family planning, an issue is couple to decide the number of children they are going to have to give them quality life using contraception or contraceptives. And there are different contraceptives that is available, both modern and traditional. But at the same time, again, we need to know that family planning is not just about managing just the population, but at the same time, it's also look into infertility cases. For those that are not able to produce, we also look at how they will be able to get the number of children they have. So that is family planning. And, you know, in our society, because of a lot of challenges when it comes to family planning. But family planning, they are trying to limit you can give birth to. As a matter of fact, really trying to limit you, but that to give birth, you can give quality life to, because as a policy that speaks to quality of life. The whole goal of children the couples are able to get. So contraception comes into play now, and that one helps in reducing what we call maternal mortality, and give a prospect, not only maternal mortality, also child mortality to the economic growth of the country.
Okay. All right. I should ask Jennifer. Thank you very much, Dr. Aku, for enlightening us on that first question. Now, as a woman, we all know that when we're talking about family planning, it's kind of a sensitive topic, especially when we're talking about it in the cultural, aspects, especially where there may be traditional expectations surrounding childbirth and family size. In your experience, I know you've worked with different communities. How does religion play into this conversation around family planning? Because I know that there are so many, intricacies around it.
Thank you very much. Relationships with religious heads sort of have impact. So we have religions where in Nigeria that do not believe in family planning, and you tend to see women that belong to that sect of religion outrightly refuse family planning. Experiences has also shown that having the religious heads carried along whenever family planning outreaches or family planning discussions happen goes a long way to improve uptake of family planning. We also have situations where communities believe in their leaders, the Obas and the Serikis of communities. They also have a long, way to go. They have impact as regards getting women to take up family planning. And also other situations where women can refuse family planning has to do with the myths and misconceptions. You have people believe that taking up family planning might make them not get pregnant again. You have people say it affects their sexual life. You have people say that family planning, it's a way to control the population, that it's a white world agenda to reduce the African population. So a lot needs to go into family planning education, even though it seems that within the urban, we all know about family planning, but within the communities, a lot of advocacies, a lot of social behavioral change communication needs to happen to get women to take up family planning.
It's interesting you talk about that, because we asked specifically Dr. Aku, we asked him about tradition, we asked you about religion, because we know those are like literally the two most powerful factors when it comes to it. And so Dr. Aku, I want to come back to you, because there are misconceptions. We're talking about family planning, and people will tell you that it's a Western invention meant to control the population, but there are traditional methods of family planning as well, and those are methods that our mothers and grandmothers were using that have been parts of us. So when we talk about misconceptions that it's solely about contraception, can you also shed some light on the holistic approach to family planning services and also the impact on individuals and families as well?
Thank you very much. You see, the issue with family planning, number one, is ignorance. And that both the religion or the tradition, family planning has been there ever before the coming of religion. You go to the scripture, this family planning is there. If you go to the Quran or the Hadith, also family planning is there. So it has been a way of practicing before the modern contraceptive way today. Now, our people believe that if you uptake family planning, you continue to have all sorts of side effects, and that is if you are not properly counseled. And that instead of coming to the facility where they will counsel you and then make a choice. What I mean by counseling, I mean giving you the opportunity to make an informed choice of the different available contraceptives for you to uptake. People continue to feed wrong information to our sisters, aunties, mothers, and all that, and then they refuse. And the next thing is they'll be having unplanned pregnancies. And the consequences, most of the consequences of unplanned pregnancy is this maternal mortality and maternal death and child death as well, which is not something that we would like to have in this country. You may wish to know that this country has a very high maternal mortality, and nobody among us all here would like either the daughter or the mother, the auntie, whatever, to die. But today, Nigeria records one of the highest maternal mortality. So the issue of religion or tradition interfering, we will still, my sister from SFH said, and then communication will continue to play a part until we put off the ignorant optic. So it is good for people to know before the coming of
religion.
Yeah.
Religion.
So Jennifer, I want to come in. Okay, Dr. Aku, please hold on, because I think it's also important we do some data with this. So Nigeria has a birth rate of about 5.24 births per woman as of 2021. It's actually one of the highest in the world. I hope you guys note that. It was 6.7 births per woman in 1985. So what we've been seeing with many developing countries like Nigeria is that there is the decline in the birth rate. So it's a two-part question. And Dr. Aku, I hope you can also jump in on this as well. Should we be worried? If we're already seeing a decline in the birth rates as developing countries become more developed and progressive, is it really something for us to be worried about? And then when we look at the impact of family planning on individuals, it was good to lay that foundation. What is that impact for family planning on individuals and even society? People talk about being able to plan for the children we will have, having schools, having health cares, knowing that you need to educate a number of teachers because they need to meet the number of students that are going to be graduating or going to be in schools at a time. So when we look at this birth rate, the decline, should we be worried if we're already seeing a decline now? And then what are the benefits of family planning for individuals, families, and even the larger society?
Okay. So research has shown that for every $1 investment in family planning, you get a return of $8.5. And with the advent of various works by the government, implementations by government and by NGOs, there's likely to be a decline in the birth rate, and I don't think it's something we should be worried about because there's obviously a population explosion that we already are having currently. Investment in family planning, and when women take up family planning, they are able to decide the number of children they want to have, and then this will impact in the family economics. You are able to cater to the children, send the children to school. The reality in Nigeria is that we all want our children to go to the best schools, and it doesn't come cheap. Nope. So when a woman is able to plan her pregnancy, she's able to also support the husband with the family finances to be able to give better lives to the children. Also, family planning helps to increase global security. When we have planned children, you are able to because guess what, the job opportunities are no longer enough, and then we still continue to have this explosion in childbirth. And so when the decline in childbirth takes its full course, we are hoping to see increased economic impacts for Nigeria as a nation.
Dr. Kai, I don't know if you want to jump in on this, like Tolu said, because we're talking about the data and statistics involving childbirth in Nigeria, looking at the decline from 1985 to 2021. I don't know whether you want to add one or two things to what Jennifer has just said.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, in the past 2 decades, we have a lot of effort has been put in, a lot of resources have been put in family planning. Unfortunately, we are not getting the desirable results. And that is because of a lot of factors, especially the socio-cultural barrier we just mentioned. Another thing is we have to look at more at the benefits, because from overall family planning uptake, we are looking at about 17%. From the last NDHS, that is the Nigerian Demographic Health Survey, we discovered that the overall was about 17%, but for modern contraceptives, it's just barely has increased by just 2%, and that is for modern, and that is about 12% or maybe 13. But this still is not acceptable because other factors are also contributing, and that we must look at what we are going to benefit if we actually practice this family planning, because it helps in population control. You look at it from the point of if you have small size family, the economy of that particular family is better. Higher percentage of income is pushed into the quality of life. Like my sister also said, the infrastructures will not be overburdened. We look forward to quality education, quality lifestyle, including nutrition and all that. Even the space of visiting the hospital is also reduced. But when you continue to give birth without planning very well, definitely the mother herself will not even have enough time to recover.
Yes.
And that is enough point that is sending a lot of women performing their physiological function into early graves. And then their children, of course, if the mother is not there, the child's chances of survival is also reduced. So it's an effort that is actually bringing issue of leading to issue of maternal and child mortality in this country, and it's unacceptable. And the only way we can achieve, if you recall, the United Nations countries, about 193 that came together with, they proposed about 17 goals. Now it is agreed that there is no way any country can achieve these goals, these 17 goals, if family planning is not addressed. So a better investment in family planning through the different ways like advocacy, service provision, availability of these commodities as well, getting reach to the hard to reach area, and proper counseling. There's no way we can achieve all the 17 goals.
Okay, so interesting enough, we're talking about family planning, contraceptives and everything, and a lot of the time, unfortunately, we know the truth. Yeah. The burden falls on the women.
Yeah.
It falls on the women to take the side effects of whatever they decide, and there are numerous ways. There's a daily pill, there are shots now, there are coils, there's so many things. But one thing that we don't really seem to talk about when it comes to family planning is vasectomies. I know that some men right now, they just recoiled in hearing that word, but it is also a very... It's a viable option that should be more on the table. Why don't we hear more about vasectomies in Nigeria? And I do know that in recent times, I've actually seen, interesting enough, 2 or 3 Nigerian couples who share their husband's journey to getting a vasectomy because they realize the burden and the health consequences in Nigeria, the health consequences on the women.
Because most of the contraceptives, or some of them, they're very hormonal. Yeah. So whether we like it or not, there's no way you would use family planning that as a woman, that it will have some kind of effect on you. It's just minimal if you go through the right channel and you do proper checks and get the right one. So, but in Nigeria, is it that education or fear? Because the question Tolu is asking, why are we not speaking about, because there was a time that there was a female condom, and they kept talking to us about it, even though I find that very, very hard to use, but they pushed it on us. So is it education that is not letting men consider vasectomy in Nigeria?
Oh, it's just a thing of culture.
Oh,
like
cultural barrier.
As a man, as an African man, as a Nigerian man, that something is taken, it's not just done. You hear some answers, why are you so against? You hear some people, the moment you start the conversation of vasectomy, they start the shaking of the head. And the shaking of the head, you ask, okay, so now you finish shaking your head, why are you shaking your head? I say, it's just not done. As in a man, just...
It's a woman's duty.
Bam. So you hear things like that. So you lean to, is it cultural leanings that's a problem?
Affecting.
Okay, so I would say the cultural aspect, and you know we live in a patriarchal society, so the burden for family planning is just believed to be borne by the woman. And you would also have some men that will outrightly say their wives cannot take up family planning methods. So it's more of the misconceptions that needs to be addressed, and then the cultural aspects. A man believes that he came into this world, he should leave this world complete. Yeah. So they feel like they become incomplete. And I feel a lot of education needs to go into this. I'm actually excited that we get to talk about family planning here. A lot of education still needs to go down into family planning, and a lot of work needs to be done around getting men involved in family planning.
Not to interrupt you, but I know I remember now when you talked about going back, when you coming to the world complete and leaving the world complete, someone actually told me that family planning doesn't take anything from a woman in terms of you don't snip anything off.
But nothing is anything snipped off in vasectomy. It is shut. It's like a valve is shut. It's not that anything is snipped.
It says
Even as I'm doing this, I'm not comfortable.
She said it.
It's still education.
Yes.
Because men just have this fear in their heart. I even hear it's a day procedure.
Yes.
You go in and come out.
Yeah.
So it's not like, you have to be on admission or like appendicitis.
the people.
I like Jennifer's smile. But Dr. Aku, we want to get your thoughts on this. Because for women, many of us, either those who have been on it or those who have friends, sisters, relatives, we've seen the impact of different forms of family planning or contraceptives on women. And a lot of times we do not talk enough about what men can do. And vasectomy is on the table. It is a viable option. So have you been hearing people who are more open, or men who are more open? Are there people asking questions about vasectomies as a form of family planning here in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much. You can't talk about family planning without male involvement. Male involvement is critical, and after all, it takes two to tango. The only thing is the woman that carries the pregnancy. And it takes the man and the woman to bring about the pregnancy. So you can't just stay on your own and become pregnant, even though we have IVF now, that women can make a choice to having pregnancy even without having a husband and all that. But that male involvement is critical. And the other side of the story is, in our own practice, we have seen men have actually come for vasectomy. You do proper counseling, that is the entry point. And when you do proper counseling and you assure them, because some believes that when you do vasectomy, you will not be able to have erection again. And that is critical to any man. Again, on the side of the woman will also tell you, in our practice, we have seen where the woman has even refused the man to have the vasectomy, despite the fact that the man wants the vasectomy, because the woman feels, or the wife feels, if you have the vasectomy, you won't be able to have an erection, and therefore it will be tantamount to zero work, or no work is done at all. So we will continue to educate, just like Jennifer has said. We need a lot of behavioral change communication. We need a lot of women. There is a regional disparity as far as this country is concerned.
Yes.
Because worst of all is in the northern part of the country. You can't just bring about vasectomy and they will listen to you. But in the southern part and maybe maybe central part of the country, we have seen cases of people actually walking in willingly for vasectomy, and then we do that, and it doesn't take more than 10 minutes to do the vasectomy. First of all, understand that family planning itself, there is what they call permanent one and temporary one. The permanent one is the one we are discussing. Now, the woman also has a permanent one. We also do tubal ligation in case of for the woman. For the man, vasectomy. Because of the patriarchal nature of this country, they tend to withdraw. But that this is the time to actually be discussing male involvement. And I'm happy to let you know that a lot of men do come into our own facility for vasectomy. We actually have what they call vasectomy, World Vasectomy Day. And World Vasectomy Day, we see people trooping for vasectomy, depending on how you break them, how you give them an informed information, and that is the counseling, that there is no effect, and if they follow the proper procedure, definitely there is nothing that has to link with erection at all after vasectomy. So it's another way of planning, because if you are not bringing out sperm anymore, there's no way the woman can get pregnant. And that is another big way of actually reducing maternal mortality and child mortality, and therefore promoting economic growth for the family.
Dr. Hai, I want to ask a question, because I know that in China and all these Asian countries, you know, they have this one-child policy in their own climate. Do you think we can have such an extreme something, can we have such an extreme thing in Nigeria like that?
A child limitation,
a child limitation or
kind of policy.
Ordinary family planning, restricting family to 4. People are still saying no, it's too much. Do you think we can actually go that extreme? Or in the near future?
Yes, I will say not in the very near future at all. Not the way the country is. Even the family planning we are talking about, we have a lot of opposition. A lot of opposition. So when you think of coming up with a policy, the government coming up with a policy of one man, one couple, and a child, is a far-fetched thing in this country, so far I'm concerned. Anyway, not during my own lifetime, because it's far-fetched. But that as we continue to develop, when people get to realize what they call quality life, I think people will go near it. Because right now, the National Population Commission policy before the last one that we have was advocating for a couple to 4 children. But that one was turned aside because they believe if the woman is giving birth to 4 children and you are the husband, you are also capable of marrying another one to give birth. So the man alone, in the Muslim society, you can marry 4 wives, and if everyone is going to have 4, so you can see the number of children that only man can have. So it defeated the aim of that particular policy. Now we are talking about couples who just have what they can actually take care of. That is where we are now. And
Dr.
the only way
Aku,
we can achieve it is...
Dr. Aku, I want to interrupt because you did mention regional differences earlier in the conversation. Jennifer, I'd like to get your thoughts on this in terms of community as well. If we have to be honest with ourselves, we do not have the same idea. They're not the same idea about having children that spread across this country. There are regional differences. Those regional differences will come into play when we're doing any policy. As you said, this policy of 1 couple to 4 children was pushed aside because when you look at a man who can marry 4 wives, he can end up with 16 children. So it's like we're not an agenda. It's like we're having a conversation for a section of the country, while another section of the country is not having the conversation at the same time. Yet this is the same country that's going to do one budget to be able to cater for all the children. How do we really push forth a national family planning policy when there are those very key, very, very key issues at play when it comes to region and religion in view of how many children couples have? Dr. Aku, I'll come back to you. Jennifer, you've worked with communities in all across the country. How do we address that? Because if we're looking in the South, Southeast, and Southwest, and we're seeing more family planning, men walking in to have vasectomies, but it's a struggle to even have a conversation around family planning in the North and Northern regions. How does that then do anything for the country?
I would say that education is what's important. At the federal level, there are many policies as regards family planning, and opportunities have been given to the subnationals, by that I mean states, to come up with specific policies that address their needs. Social behavioral change communication cannot be overemphasized, and a lot of funds are being delved into that to see that women and families are being educated. It is majorly because people don't understand. It's the lack of understanding that results in men having 3 wives. And then the economic reality right now is an awakening for everybody to know that there is a need to just pipe down. And so individual states are currently implementing different projects. We also have support from NGOs to be able to implement. I'll give an example. I currently work on a project called Integrate E-Project, and we are implementing in Kano, and we have high uptake of family planning in those states. The thing is, women are shy or scared to take up family planning methods, and we have been able to train community pharmacists, PPMVs within their location. So a woman doesn't have to go far to the PHC or to the general hospital to take up family planning. She can just walk up to her neighbor to take up family planning. So investing more in region-specific interventions will go a long way to to address that.
Wow, very, very interesting conversation we've been having so far today on this issue of family planning. We want to say thank you. Thank you immensely, Dr. Okai Haruna Aku, the Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Federation of Nigeria, and of course our in-house guest, the beautiful Jennifer Ladokun, the Regional Programs Manager at the Society for Planned Parenthood.
For family health.
For family health, for sharing your insights and expertise on this very important topic. It is clear that family planning plays a crucial role in the shaping the future of Nigeria, and we're grateful for the work that you're doing to ensure that we have access to these very, very vital services. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a quick time out now because there's a lot to digest in all of this. But when we come back from the timeout, we'll be getting into hot topics because we'll be making it very hot. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Jasiri. And of course, we've told you it's time to heat things up in the studio a little. It's time for hot topics. Yes, let's get into a very hot topic at the moment. The federal government's crackdown on fake degrees. Education Minister Tahir Mamman expressed no sympathy for those with fake credentials, stating that they are part of criminal networks and should be arrested. The government also plans to suspend degree certificates from additional countries like Uganda, Kenya, Niger Republic, following a suspension of accreditation of certificates from Benin and Togo. This decision comes after an undercover journalist exposed how easy it was to obtain a degree from a university in Benin Republic, leading to the suspension of accreditation and a probe into this particular matter. I saw this coming, honestly. It's really a cause for concern, because you just see people go about, and I see people getting honorary days, honorary that.
No, that's not the
honorary
same.
Is different.
It's not the same thing.
Yes, it's not the same thing, but I see people just getting degrees so easily.
Yeah.
And you're like, what did you go to school?
But on the note of the honorary, please know that when you're giving an honorary doctorate, you're only allowed to use the doctor within the university environment. It is not supposed to go on your bio.
Are you serious?
It's not supposed to go on your bio.
It's on
Please, thank you, Tolu. You'll not be telling people to be introducing you as doctor.
That
it was a
education.
side note. It's a side
That's
note.
such an education for me. Thank you.
Side note.
Because you see, everybody just says this thing.
Yes.
Because education is so crucial.
Yeah.
And if it's so easy for us to, we're already having problems with people that even go through university and are still half-baked. So imagine those that can just go to a school in a neighboring country and just get a degree.
My own is, I hear the government, but, what's mulling in my head is, how are they going to go about this?
Okay, so you're taking me to where I want us to go back to. I think many people may have forgotten the story, so we want to just quickly remind you. It was a Daily Nigerian reporter, Umar Audu, who revealed that he obtained a degree within 6 weeks and even proceeded to embark on mandatory youth service under the National Youth Service Corps scheme back in Nigeria. Now, it exposed the illegalities perpetrated by some tertiary institutions. That's an important note. In West African countries, leading the Nigerian government to place a ban on the accreditation and evaluation of degrees from Benin Republic and Togo. So then there was a committee set up, and the committee says once they get the reports, which is going to probe into the investigation, they will go ahead to arrest. I really don't have a problem with the arrest. My bigger issue, because what his undercover investigative report showed, is that it is an inside job.
Yes.
These things could not be done and perpetrated if there were not people within the NUC, National Universities Commission, people within the National Youth Service Commission, NYSC, who went ahead to farm these things into the system so that these guys would be able to serve, would be able to have degrees. So don't just arrest the ones who hold the fake degrees, arrest the ones who enabled them to have the fake degrees.
But now, I know it. What do we now do now?
It goes back to the question, how do you know those? How do you filter?
For 1 year, are they going to just ban from maybe like this year?
No, they can't just.
So they go back?
No, so the ban is still in effect. I have not heard that the ban has been lifted on those degrees.
How do we find the culprits who are the insiders in doing the inside job? That's one. Number two, what's to say that this kind of thing cannot happen here in Nigeria? Or isn't even happening?
Are you kidding me? Of course things are happening.
I know. That's why I'm saying, are we sure it's not happening here? So what are we, why is the pot calling the kettle black?
But now that we're even talking fake degrees, even in polity, it has been banded around, even in those circles, that people are getting fake degrees.
The Toronto
scandal, all sorts of scandals. So for you to now want to crack down, it's kind of like distasteful.
But at the end of the day, are we not the same people who talk about the fact that there's a lack of consequence? This is an attempt to possibly put in some consequence for these things.
What do you think the punishment
would be?
Okay, you rescind. Okay,
it's not civil. It's obviously criminal.
Yeah. Okay. So you.
But imagine someone
you go to jail for 5 years for having a fake degree.
Because the prisons are so full, you serve 1.5 years, and they say, okay, it's okay, come and go, because the prisons are overfull. There's plenty of people inside, so we can.
I think we really need to think about this. Don't forget that we've had 107 private universities being established in Nigeria in 15 years. That shows you a demand for education and degrees. Then so much so demand that people are having to go outside of Nigeria to get degrees, then get them back in.
That's a different conversation, because even the 170 universities are not enough. Do you know how many?
And not all of them have their programs accredited by the NUC.
Exactly.
That's another thing. Didn't we just hear about some universities that were supposedly shut down because they're not accredited? They're giving out fake degrees. Students are saying they're expecting to go to NYSC only to be told that the school degree, the program, the whatever is not accredited.
Nigeria, my country.
You know, when we come to education, we really need the Minister of Education to step up and clarify a lot of things and address so many issues. The universities are springing up everywhere. Somebody is giving them licenses to do these things.
Some of them don't have licenses. That's what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Can you just wake up one morning and set up a university?
Apparently,
probably they've been given.
Then that means there's no regulation within that industry.
There's one on the outskirts of
Where is there regulation anyway? Are we not seeing people who build? They say they build houses illegally, but these permits were approved for them to build.
Honestly, but even we understand that those ones are even things you can circumvent, you know, from the side. We're talking about education, but what can I say? When people can wake up one morning, take half of their 3-bedroom.
Lolo, let me escort you. Let me escort you to the exit. Guys, let me escort you quietly. I give you water.
And then we just start school.
Your choice.
He's okay.
He's okay.
That's why I say I'm gonna escort you. Guys, we are going. This is where we say goodbye to this episode of Jasiri. A huge thank you to both Dr. Okai Haruna Aku and Jennifer Ladokun for sharing such outstanding knowledge with us, especially in the vasectomy thingy. Today on family planning, I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Join us tomorrow for our topic special. It's special for a reason, gang gang. Until then, stay informed, stay empowered, and stay fearless. We don't come out to.
Are you awake?